Well, we used to know that family, but the whole family went crazy.
Welcome to today's Crazy America podcast. If you're new here, then Crazy America is a chronicle of the everyday mayhem and madness across our great land. So press the subscribe button below and sign up for our regular updates. Now, today, we're going to talk about a sickening story that shocked the country to its core almost a decade ago now. But it's a story that continues to shock us to this day. A man named Rasheed Powell, remember that name, Rasheed Powell, became one of the most notorious sex offenders America has ever seen when he was sentenced back in 2018. Among other things, this sicko attacked various motels on some of the major New Jersey highways. Now, his spree took place back in 2012, so as I say, nearly a decade ago. And when he was attacking those folks in those hotels, he would go room to room at gunpoint and force couples or anyone he found in the rooms to have sex with each other in front of him. Absolutely despicable. And afterwards, this guy, Powell, he would sometimes lock the gentleman of the couple in the bathroom and have a go himself with a lady. Absolutely awful behavior. Anyway, as usual, Ollie Sibley is here with us. And Ollie, can you tell us a little bit more about why Powell is back in the news this week?
Well, Reese, as you say, this was a really terrible story that caught the public imagination a few years back. Powell actually committed these horrific offences all the way back in 2012. But it took 6 long years of investigation to finally convict him in 2018. As you can imagine, that meant that some of his victims had to come forward as witnesses and relive their harrowing experiences. It also took some remarkable forensic work to link him with the crime scenes. This man's twisted rampage was so unrelenting that he actually marauded through different motels on 4 separate occasions, as well as forcing couples and sometimes non-couples to get it on for his viewing pleasure. He would also take videos or photos of the encounter on the victims' phones and then send these to all their contacts. That's the kind of thing that usually happens through a dodgy email, but Powell did it in person. So in the end, they convicted him on a staggering 60 counts, so it really was no wonder he was sent down for nearly 150 years.
Yes, that's right, Ollie. And I suppose the world hoped when he was given that sentence that was the very last they would hear of Rasheed Powell. But he appealed the sentence, right? He thought 150 years was too, or his lawyers thought it was too much, on technical grounds. Is that correct?
That is correct, Reese. That's presumably what they thought, that 150 years in the slammer was far too long. So, the appeal for a reduced sentence was very much based on the technicalities of the case. So, to simplify it a little, his attorneys argued that he had a right for some of these counts to have been merged, which would basically mean less jail time. Now, the main outcome of the appeal was that the motion to reduce the sentence was denied, and so the original sentencing was after all upheld, although the New Jersey Appellate Division did agree with some of the arguments put forward by Powell's attorneys. Not that that's going to make any difference to Powell. This guy's never getting out, or I suppose the only way he might get out is if he could mastermind some daring escape using a tunnel or a helicopter.
Well, I guess, Ollie, that's the only hope for Powell. Not that we want him to have any hope, but maybe he can get some inspiration from El Chapo. Otherwise, as you say,
it's the hope that kills you.
Well, that's what they say. He ain't ever getting out, though, I guess. And that's obviously what he deserves. The scale of this guy's crimes is truly staggering, and we've only touched the surface of it in this podcast. Look, it would have been a smack in the face for this guy's victims if they'd let him off some of that time, even if they'd got the sentence down to 100 years. This is obviously someone who belongs in the slammer forever, period. And at Crazy America, believe it or not, we don't say that in too many cases, but this is certainly one of them. Well, that's all we have time for today, folks. Be sure to hit that subscribe button below, and Crazy America will be back again soon.